Today on Latina Mic Drop, we are talking about the coworkers nobody wants to call out, but everybody knows exactly who they are. The ones who run to the boss instead of having a conversation, the one who lies through their teeth, the one who throws people under the bus, the one who gets stepped on because they don't know how to stand up for themselves, and the one who gets all the work done until they burn out. This episode is not about blaming or shaming, it is about awareness. Because toxic workplace culture does not always come from one big dramatic moment. Sometimes it comes from the little things people keep doing every day. The avoidance, the fake nice, the lack of accountability, the people pleasing, the silence, the triangulation, the I didn't say that energy. And if we are being asked to come back into offices, work across generations, lead teams, and build trust, then we need to stop acting like we work in corporate Candyland. We need real conversations, we need respect, we need accountability, and we need people who know how to move with courage, not drama. So today I'm bringing the street wisdom and the corporate strategy because some of y'all need to hear this straight. Welcome to another episode of Latina Mic Drop. So today's episode is going to talk about the different kind of coworkers that we see in the workplace, but from my perspective. And I like to combine street wisdom with corporate strategy. So I'm going to talk to you the way that maybe is unexpected, but this is how people really do see you. And this is how really people really do think about you. In case you don't know, you're that person. So, per usual, this is not to blame or shame anybody. This is just for awareness and educational purposes because this is the Mic Drop podcast. Okay, here we're going to keep it real. We're going to say what we need to say. And this is about really just getting to know each other. And now that we are headed back to the workplace or you're working with more different people, different generations, I think a lot of people just don't fucking get it. And it's time that somebody lets you know or tells you, because more and more I see that in the workplace, people are fucking shying away of having real conversations and real discussions. They're acting more like they're living in Candyland and working in Candyland and just jumping over rainbows and jumping through the glitter and shit like that. When in reality, we have a lot of things to do. We have things to get done. And we want to do it in the best of circumstances and not work in a toxic environment. To me, these are the types of coworkers that are creating that toxic workplace and you don't even know that you're creating it. Okay, so number one, I'm going to start and just go off the bitch ass coworker. So that person is the person who has no courage, has no balls, has no way, has no freaking intention of speaking face to face with you. This is the person who is like a little kid that goes to their mama, goes to the principal, goes to their dad, goes to whoever, some kind of authority to go speak on their behalf. That drives me crazy in the workplace because let's be grown-ups, let's have a conversation, stop making assumptions about what people say or do. And if it really rubs you the wrong way, let's have a regular conversation. So in the workplace, I see that people just don't want to talk. They don't want to have a hard conversation. They don't want to address anybody who is willing to have a real conversation and say, hey, this bugged me, or that bugged me, or this didn't work out well, or I thought this is what you meant. And then in reality, when you get to know somebody and you get to speak to them, you get to understand where they came from, what the intention was. And some of you are just coming into the workplace without even getting to know people. This is the other thing. You are not able, if you are the bitch ass coworker, you're not able to accept that somebody has more experience than you, accept that somebody may have a little bit more knowledge than you, and you don't know how to listen. And that becomes really hard because you don't know how to listen, and you don't know how to talk to people, and you don't know how to come from a place of understanding. You just want to see it your way and want somebody else to have the hard conversation for you. So you do triangulation, where you bring in a third person to come into the conversation and speak on your behalf. Like, that to me is so harmful in the workplace, because you never get to the bottom of what the situation is, and you never get a chance to really talk to the other person and come to an understanding so that you can move forward. So that's one. The two, oh my God, the lying ass coworker. This is the person who, no matter what, is just lying through their teeth all day, every day, does not take any accountability for anything. They will, no matter what, just not say the truth, will be fake to everybody and anything, because that's what they think they should be doing. And a lot of times with this person, I think it's coming more from a place of protection and a place of safety. They don't feel safe, and they don't feel security. They have a lot of insecurity, and that's why they feel they have to lie or tell you what you think you want to hear, instead of what's real, instead of what's really going on, instead of what really happened. Or they're afraid that you will see them for who they really are, maybe. I don't know, because I don't get it. But this is what I'm seeing. This is the behaviors that I've witnessed throughout all my years in so many different places. And it's really harmful, because you are destroying the trust in the group. Like, if you're the person that is bending the truth, saying white lies, like, you are really destroying the trust. And there is no team without trust. There's no leadership without trust. And that lying eventually will catch up to you, and eventually you will get caught. And that is not something you can come back from very easily. So, like, for me, out in the streets, you lie, I mean, they're going to come after you. It's not cool. Like, it's a real big form of disrespect. And respect is key into all of these, and none of these people are showing any kind of respect. So let's go to the third one, and you tell me, right, how this resonates with you. You know who that person is. Don't out anybody. You know what it is, and tell me how you feel about it, or what is it causing in the workplace, because that is the reason why they're toxic workplaces. It's because these people are either in leadership, or they're your coworkers, and unfortunately nobody is telling them the truth, because everybody's beating around the bush about it. So now this third one is a little bit connected to the lying one, but this one is just somebody who is always throwing somebody else under the bus. Ay, ay, ay. Why do you do that? Like, why can't you just take accountability? And why do you need to throw somebody else under the bus in every situation? What? Why? Why? I don't understand that one. I don't get why you need to be the person who is saying, "Oh, this is what happened, and because this person came in, they threw me off my game, and I was unable to concentrate, or I was unable to do this, or they did something that wasn't part of the plan, and X, Y, and Z," right? But I'm not talking about like somebody who's trying to keep somebody accountable. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about somebody who is constantly blaming others for their own wrongdoing, for their own missing of the assignment, for their own not being able to keep everything together. And that is another person who makes it really difficult to have on the team. Because if you're not going to take accountability as the lead, or as the coordinator, or as somebody that should be helping the rest of the team, and you're coming in to throw other people under the bus when in reality it was you who was doing it. That is so wrong. And then you think that it doesn't get back to them. These things get back to people. These things do get back to people. People will talk about what you said and how you said it. And then that's another erosion of trust. That's another way of being disrespectful. Like, stop doing it. It's not cool. This is another one that may seem harmless, but this is the I get stepped on coworker. This is the person that just doesn't stand up for themselves. This is the person who says absolutely nothing, who doesn't participate, who is so nice that they cannot talk to anybody, that they cannot get anything done. These are the people that I think suffer quietly in some way or somehow, and they really worry me. Somebody who's a stronger personality or more aggressive personality or more assertive personality may take advantage of these people. And you don't want to be that person that is being taken advantage of or is being told to do something because they know you will just go ahead and do it and they can treat you that way. My heart hurts for these people because these are more like people pleasers and people who are probably culturally taught to say yes to everything and be kind and have respect for authority and all of that. But they don't get to recognize when people are taking it too far and being disrespectful to them, and they don't know how to defend themselves. And that is really hard to watch. And there comes times where other people need to step in and help these people. So it does become a little bit hard for some employees to be able to work with this person, because it's almost like you always have to be in protection mode of these people, because otherwise they will be taken advantage of, and that's sad. I don't like that. Don't do that to people. And if you're the nice one, you really need to begin to think about, like, how can I become more assertive? How can I have authority? How can I have influence? A lot of you are brand new or may think that you don't have any authority because there's no reporting relationship, but in reality you can have authority and you can be assertive where it's not rude. Being assertive doesn't mean being rude, and some people may not like it based on their own personality or their own type of coworker style. But if you allow it to continue, the one that's going to continue to suffer is you. And this one is the last one I want to talk about really quickly, is the I get all the work done coworker. So this one is very hard to say anything negative about them too much, because they're the person who can get the work done. But the reason why I think it creates a toxic environment is because this person, unfortunately, sooner or later, and a lot of times I'm seeing it sooner, will burn out. So eventually, this person will not be able to keep up. It is not sustainable for them to continue to say yes and to continue to take on so many projects and to continue to do so much work. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And just because they're able doesn't mean that you can't go to somebody else who should learn how. So that's another thing that will lead to a toxic work environment. And so these are the 5 that I wanted to talk about really quickly, because it is not cool to be any one of these, because it brings up some negative ways of working and it brings up some awkwardness in the office. And I don't think it's to anybody's fault, but it is like those protection mechanisms that you may be using, or you just don't know, you're just not aware, you're brand new to it. So if these are it, think about ways that you can, and talk to somebody else, maybe get yourself a coach or think about a mentor that you can work with, or read a book about relationships and coworkers and think about assertiveness. Sometimes too, as women, we are taught to be submissive, and when we find our voice and we find our assertiveness, it is sometimes taken negatively. So some of you are trying to avoid that. And others of you have just always been protected by mommy and daddy and other people. So you're just used to handling your situations like that. You don't handle anything yourself. You're not used to approaching a person and having a hard conversation, which to me is not a hard conversation, it's just a regular conversation about what happened and let's discuss it. But for others, it's more like, let me have that conversation with somebody else and they can take care of it for me and they will set you straight. And in reality, it's not setting anything straight. It's just causing more confusion and creating more space. And it's creating disconnection between your teams. So all of these in one way or another create that disconnection, create the mistrust, and create the disrespect. And if you're asking your coworkers and your people to come into the office more often, if you're these people who is the person that is going to speak on their behalf, and that instead of the employee speaking, you're being allowed to be in triangulation, you're part of the problem too. Because as a leader, as a supervisor, as a manager, as a coworker, you should be telling them, hey, why don't you try to have a conversation first and see how it goes? And I'm pretty sure that people can get along and people could talk and people can have a disagreement and people can have different ways of thinking and different opinions and still be able to work together and still understand each other and still find common ground on which to walk forward with. So that's today's episode of Latina Mic Drop podcast. And if anybody is interested in the Chingona playbook, Secrets to Dance to Your Own Beat, you have a story that resonates with that, I want to hear about it. And you can share your email at info@miriamsimon.online. And I will be happy to share the details of the Chingona playbook with you. And you could be part of a book. You could be published in the next 6 months. Everybody have a great day. See you on the flip side.